do not know me, I am Erica James with Erica James Travel. I am a travel agent and blogger, helping people to travel around the world and experience amazing things, but not breaking the budget. That is exactly what I like to do, help people travel well without breaking their budget. And speaking of that, that is what we are talking about today, is how to plan and budget for your vacation. Before we get started, if you just joined, make sure you take a moment and hit the button down that says notify if you want to know if I go live. So make sure you hit that button so you'll always know when I'm going live, especially in a couple of weeks, because I'm going to Mexico, so you don't want to miss any big fun that I'm having in Mexico. And you can see my live travel. Also, make sure you like my Facebook page. If someone shared this with you and this is your first time coming over to see my video, make sure you like my page, because I try to provide a lot of interesting travel tips and helpful information for everyone. And if you have the opportunity to share today's live broadcast, then please do so. I have a special guest with me today. I'm very excited. This is my very first time having a guest on my little Facebook Live show. So I want to introduce Sharissa Williams. She is the self-proclaimed queen of balling on a budget. She is a master at creating a budget for everything in life, especially her travel. She is a mother, a wife, a grandmother, and she just happens to be my best friend. So welcome, Sharissa.
Thank you.
So glad to have you on the show today. And we're going to dive into talking to her about how she plans for her budget and how she has her budget and plans for her vacation. But I'm going to start off by telling you, before you even get to planning for that, planning how you're going to pay for that vacation, let's start with planning the vacation first. So I want to start off and say the first step to planning a vacation is plan as far ahead as you can. You want to do this because it gives you the opportunity to have more time to pay on your vacation. Whether you know it or not, and we take it for granted as travel agents and people that travel, we take it for granted that you know that you can put a deposit on your vacation and then you can make payments along the way and help get that vacation paid. You don't have to pay up front. One of the benefits of using a travel agent, because if you go online, you know they're going to ask for all their money up front. So that's a reason to use a travel agent. So you want to plan as far ahead as you can. Now, I get people sometimes that call me and they want to know this year, can you give me information on the vacation for 2020? That is way too far in advance. So I'm going to give you some kind of guidelines to help you know when you can start planning. For cruises, you can plan over a year, more than a year out, because they put that information out there. But if you're looking to go somewhere that includes air, remember, for vacations that include Southwest Airlines, they only release their fares like 7 to 8 months out. However, all the other airlines release their information 335 days out. So, a year from the vacations. So take away 30 more days, add 30 more days to that, and then you can start planning your vacation. So remember that as how early you can start. But when you think about it, you can get started now. If you're thinking about a 2019 vacation that is in January through May, you better get started. You better call me and let's get started working on that now. Okay, so then once you have decided to plan that vacation, what I think you should do is decide ahead of time of what you want to, where you want to go, what you want to do, what you want to experience while you're on vacation. I'm a big fan of booking a vacation based on what you want to experience, not price. And I want you to start that way in the beginning. Start with everything that you want to experience while you're on vacation. I had a client who called me. She was like, Erica, I want to go to Punta Cana. She said, I want an adult-only resort. I want room service every day. I want to have a spa day. I want to ride a horse on the beach. She gave me everything. And that's what you have to do. Everything that you want, give it to your travel agent. Let them put all of that package together for you and then present that to you. Now, once you get that package back, at that point, you go through and decide, can I afford to do everything that I want? If you can't, then start making a few tweaks and changes until you get it to the budget that you can afford. For instance, if a certain type of room, like I have people who are a fan of swim out rooms, and I know you're a fan of swim out rooms. If that is the room that you want and you pick a resort that maybe it's too expensive, but you don't want to compromise on the room, then go down to a lesser resort that also offers a swim up room. So you don't compromise on the room, you just go to a different resort. So you have to make those kind of tweaks. But what's most important is that you get what you want. So once you have reviewed your quote from your client and you have gone through and decided, yes, I can afford this, or let me, I can wait on this. I really don't have to have this. And you get it to where you want. Then you want to start planning for your vacation. You want to start making a budget for that. And that's what we're here to talk about today, is making a budget. And we're going to dive into how you do that and what's a great formula. But I wanted to talk to Sharisa on how she plans for a vacation, because she travels, often. She travels more than once a year, and we want to see how she does that. First, I want to ask you, what kind of traveler do you consider yourself? A luxury traveler, a budget, or kind of both?
Kind of both. I like my luxury rooms. I can kind of come down on I don't have to fly first class. Mm-hmm. So that's how I can get my swim out room, right, because I'm going to fly coach. So, yeah. So that's how I'll compromise there. But I want it to be affordable, but then I want it to be everything that I want, as far as, I'm going to be in this room for 7 days and I want it to be exactly the room that I want. So, I like my luxury, but then it needs to fit into my budget.
Right. You have to be realistic about what luxury means. Different things to people.
To me.
Right. You have to decide what luxury means to you. Right. So how often do you travel a year?
I travel at least twice a year.
At least twice a year. Yeah. And sometimes it could be more.
Sometimes it could be more.
Especially during football season.
Yes, during football season. Because travel, it could be weekend travel. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to be going out of the country for a week. I can fly up to Pittsburgh for a Steelers game, or fly down to Dallas for a Cowboys game.
Right.
So that's, just a weekend thing.
Exactly. Travel is travel. It doesn't have to be elaborate every time, but you're still going somewhere. You're still living your best life and having a good time, and you're getting it all done on your budget.
Right.
What was your most recent trip?
My most recent trip, we did a 7-day cruise. Where did we go? We went to St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, Turks and Caicos, and Amber Cove, the Dominican Republic.
Okay, and you took your daughter on that trip.
I took my daughter on that trip, yes.
Okay, so when did you start? Like, your trip was in June, so when did you start paying for that trip, like signing up for that trip?
So we usually go about 10 months out. So I give myself about 10 months to plan for the vacation. So if it was in June, so let's say November, December, year before, we started planning that. I actually was paying for 2 trips at once this year.
So, okay, you're paying for 2 trips at once.
Yeah, budgeting in for both trips.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you went on a 7-day cruise in June, and then you have a major trip coming up next month. And where are you going on that trip?
I'm going to Dubai.
Dubai. Okay. So when did you start? Your Dubai trip is in September, and I think you started paying for the trip in November.
Mid-November we started. I started paying for this trip.
Paying for that trip in November. Okay. So when you saw for your Dubai trip, now that was a package that was put out there, and you saw the price. You're right. So when you saw that price, do you say, "Oh yeah, I'm going"? No, I'm not going. Or did you immediately, let me look at my budget? How did you decide? Yeah,
I immediately took the price of that trip, decided how many people I was going to have to pay for, whether I was taking someone in my household I was going to have to pay for, or whether I was going to get a roommate and just it'd be me paying for myself.
Yeah.
And so I took the price of that trip and looked at my calendar to say, okay, how many paychecks do I have between now and then?
Right.
And break it down by that, and that tells me what my per paycheck cost is going to be. If that looks affordable to me, I sign up for that trip.
You sign up for that trip.
I sign up for that trip.
All right, so that's a good way of thinking about it and looking at your vacations. And I try to tell people, don't look at your vacations in a big chunk, because that's discouraging. Like, oh my God, can I shell out that much money for a trip at one time? But if you break it down into smaller chunks, it seems a little more attainable, right? It seems more attainable. Great. Okay, so now when you say you decide what you're going to take out of your paycheck, do you have a travel budget or like a savings account? If you're not taking a trip, do you have a savings account, or you're just immediately applying that money onto your trip?
I do. I have a travel savings account. So what I do is I add travel to my bi-weekly budget. So, I'm paid bi-weekly, so I put travel on my bi-weekly budget. And there's a certain amount that I move over to that account, whether I've got a trip planned or not. I'm going to move a certain amount over there to that account. And that account, I don't touch it unless it's for travel.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. Just like you don't spend your light bill money on anything else. That's what it's for. I don't spend my travel money on anything else. I work hard and I spend my travel money on travel.
Right.
So I do have a travel savings account, and then I have my regular savings account, and then I have my checking account that I pay my bills with.
Now, have you always been able to have a travel savings account, or did you work your way to that?
I worked my way to that. I'm a mother of 5, so I haven't always been able to travel. So I did a lot of staycations, and we took small trips as a family, but it wasn't something that I knew at first that I could pay in installments on vacations. I thought it was just, you said you wanted to go someplace and they told you it was going to be $2,000 per person, and you had to pay that. And it just wasn't in my budget to do that. So I just had to take some time and start adding a little bit of money to that account. But then once I got a travel agent, then I realized that, you can make payments. You can budget, you can plan a trip out for, about 10, 11 months out, and then start making payments on it.
Right.
And have it paid completely off by the time you leave.
Exactly. So I hear you saying that you look at that price up front, you break it down by your paychecks, and you decide, how much you're gonna pay on your vacation. What about when you get to that destination? I mean, not everything. Every time you get to a destination is not always all inclusive, or there's still expenses. How do you manage that?
What I say, if it's going to be a 7-day trip and it's not all inclusive, then I budget I'm going to spend probably about $100 a day, and that's going to be what I'm going to eat, drink, if I'm going to do a little bit of shopping. Some days I might spend $100. Some days I might not spend $100. I might come home with a little money. I might go over one day, and then I know the next day I have to tone it down a little bit. But then that is going to go into my payment calculator as well. So I'm going to budget that in during that 10 months when I'm saving. Because normally your trips, about 45 days out, like 30 to 45 days out, your balance is due. So 45 days doesn't give me enough time to save $700 to have my $100 a day budget. So, but if I'm going on an all-inclusive trip, then, I don't really have to have that much spending money. It's just basically shopping, or, if we get there and decide we're going to do something that we didn't already plan for.
So how about excursions and activities? Do you put that budget aside and wait till you get there? Or do you like to go ahead and add that at the beginning so you kind of know what your budget is and you can plan ahead of time?
It depends on, if I see something that's on the trip, then I'm like, I definitely want to do that, because I know that the excursions, they'll sell out. So I'm like, I definitely want to do that. I'm going to book that. And I'll call you and I'll
Yeah.
say, hey, that's something I want to do. We'll go ahead on and add that on in, and then we'll start budgeting on in to pay for that
Right.
up front. But of course you're going to get there and then decide, and then that's where my average around $100 a day comes from. But you can always look and say, okay, but they have this and this and this to do there, and this is how much that costs. You can look at those up front and see if you're going to need a little extra money.
Right, definitely. You can look at those up front. You can always, whatever ideas on excursions you have, you can always ask your travel agent, say, hey, can you send me the prices of these, so you can prepare. The most important thing, that I think is preparing for your budget. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I think you got to be prepared. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit more about your calculator. Like you say you calculate that into your payment. What does that look like? The calculation look like?
Okay. Well, I'm going to we'll do the Dubai trip. So I decided around the 1st of November that I was going to go to Dubai. I think I made my deposit around the middle of November. And then I looked at it and I said, okay, now when's the due date? So the due date, the balance had to be paid off by August 8th. So I looked and I calculated up how many paychecks. It was like 18 paychecks between after I made my deposit and when the balance due was. So then I took the balance due.
18 paychecks.
Yes.
So wow. I mean, that means you started early enough to get 18 paychecks. Because I know sometimes, you may have 2 paychecks or 4 paychecks, but I'm amazed. 18 paychecks. You were able to start that early. I mean, so that had to be breaking that trip down.
It was breaking it down to the bare minimum. I mean, because we're talking skipping a couple of happy hours and I'm going to Dubai, so it was that simple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So so you say you had 18 paychecks, you knew the cost, 18 paychecks in between.
So I take the total balance of the trip plus saying, okay, I'm gonna be gone for 7 days, so I need an extra $700 just for throw around money once I get there. So I add both of those in, and then I divide it by 18. And that's how much money I needed to make sure was going into that account. And the good thing with the travel agent is that money doesn't have to sit over there in that account and let me be tempted to do something else with it.
Yeah.
I can call you, or I send you an email. I do not call you or text you. I send you an email and I say, charge me this, charge me that. And I mean, in some payment calculators, they'll break it down to how much you need to save per day. Now, I'm not gonna be calling you every day saying, "Hey, charge me $5 today."
Right.
I charge instead of going to Starbucks, I'm gonna pay on my I'm gonna pay on my trip. But you break it down like that. I might call you once a month or twice a month and say, hey, go ahead on and charge that. Because to me, I like when your assistant sends my statement every month and that balance is going down, and I know that I'm a few more paychecks closer to getting in the sky and being gone. And when that zero balance one comes, I'm like, baby, I'm gone.
It's a done deal.
It's a done deal. Ain't no turning back now. I am out of here.
That is good. That is so really exciting and motivating to get that invoice and you see that it is getting smaller and smaller. And so you have it set on how much you're going to pay. I mean, if you get paid every week or if you get paid, every 2 weeks, then, you apply that payment. I know me as a travel agent, it doesn't bother me. My clients can make as many payments as they want. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. You got to do what's best for you. And I'm here to help you and to assist you. So, you pay what you can, because I try to tell people, look at your vacation in small chunks, not large chunks, because you can get discouraged, but you can be encouraged when that balance is going down. Okay?
Yes.
So she was talking about, she got the deposit. She knew the date the deposit was done. She knew the date that the balance had to be due. So she counted how many paydays she had in between the balance, in between the deposit and the balance due, and divided that up. Now, if you can't remember all of that, I have put this into a worksheet for you. I have made this really simple for you. You can go to my website, or I'm going to drop the link down in this in the comment section of this Facebook Live post so that you can click on the link, download the payment calculator, and so you can just fill that in. You're going to fill in all the information, and then it'll tell you how much you need to pay per payday for your vacation. So don't forget, as soon as this is over, I'm going to put that link down in the comments for you all to get that. And you can always go to my website, ericajamestravel.com, at any time and get that, get that worksheet. And I hope it helps you. Now, Sharisa, if you can, if there's one piece of advice that you can give, my viewers today, what would that be? About, balling on a budget and, planning for your vacation.
You can do anything as long as you plan for it. If you put it down on paper, put it in a budget, you can go places you never could imagine that you could go. Mm-hmm. You have to get a quote, have it on paper, break it down, and you can go. You work hard. You work hard for your money. Right. You might as well play hard too.
Exactly. Write the vision, make it plain. Okay. Well, that is great. And one other thing, I want to ask you some fun questions about yourself. But before we get to that, I remember there was something that you said, a couple of answers back about if that means you got to skip a couple of happy hours to pay for your vacation, that's what you're going to do. That just resonated with me because recently this week, a guy posted, a video on Facebook, and I shared it on my Facebook if you want to go and look at it, talking about, the question is not to travel or not to travel. That's not really the question. It is, what you're going to do to get there. So, how do you feel? I guess you feel really good about making sacrifices to travel.
Yeah, I do. So, I really do. I saw that video, and I was like, amen in him the whole time he was talking. Because, he said, what did he say? If he goes somewhere and he has dinner and it's $80, he's like, I could have stayed somewhere for a night for that. Right. And, you do kind of feel that way. It's like, was this hour sitting here at this table for this meal, was it worth it? Right. Was this worth this meal, or could I have actually went somewhere and done something? Right. So, and, and some people think, well, I'll just go to happy hour and spend $20. Mm-hmm. But if you go to happy hour 3 times a week, that's $60. Right. So that's a trip.
That is a trip.
That's a trip. Mm-hmm. Call Erica. That's a trip.
That is a trip.
Trust me. $60 a week. You're going someplace nice.
You can have your trip paid off.
Right. You're going someplace nice for that $60. Exactly. And you look, and that $60 is not that much.
Mm-mm. Not that much. And I know, and you know what? I am I can confirm that $60 is a good trip because I also went on that 7-day cruise with you as well. And I paid my deposit. I know I'm a travel agent. And, but you can't count your eggs before they hatch. So I still plan for my vacation. So I paid that deposit, and I knew how many paydays was in between when the balance was due. And it came out to $58 and some change every 2 weeks. And I made sure that I applied my $58 every 2 weeks. So, $60, that is a vacation. You can do it. I am telling you can do it. Okay. So I want to ask you some fun questions. I recently posted this the other day, and I already know your answer because you did comment. But for the viewers, printed travel documents or everything on your phone? What's your preference?
I print my travel documents, and I have them in a folder. You can call me old school or whatever, but honey, I have Sprint. And I'm not getting to the airport and my phone is not working and I can't pull up a confirmation. I see so many people standing around on their phones and they're trying to get something. Right. No, I have it on my phone as well, but I have that piece of paper and I will flop that piece of paper out at the airport, at the hotel. When I get to the cruise port, I've got that travel document and it is in my carry-on bag. It
Right.
is not in my luggage. Yes.
She just makes me so proud. I just love it. And you have everything in a little folder, right?
Everything in my
Love
Erica
it.
James travel folder, yes.
I love it. Take your travel documents with you,
Take
people.
them with you.
Okay, so what kind of vacation are you like? Are you an active vacationer or you want to be in a relaxed atmosphere?
I kind of do both. I like to be active. I like to have a schedule of things I'm going to do. Like when I'm here, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I like to get a day in of relaxation, or maybe 2 days. Because the one thing I don't want to do is get home and need a vacation from my vacation.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's like when you get home, then it's time to go back to work, and you just feel exhausted
Mm-hmm.
because you did absolutely too much on vacation.
Exactly.
So,
I know how that feels.
Right.
Yeah. Now, are you adventurous or an observer?
I will observe you doing all that crazy stuff that you like to do.
I know that's right. Oh my God. I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, could I die doing that? Nah, I don't want to do it.
Right.
But I mean, I will go out there and I will watch. And, sometimes, when we, were we in Punta Cana when I actually got out in the ocean and laid on that?
I was so impressed. Thoroughly impressed.
Terrified. I thought I was going to need something for anxiety. Getting out in that ocean, in the middle of the ocean, on a floaty that people normally use in a swimming pool. Are you serious?
And they just pushed you
They
out.
just pushed you out, and I was just like...
Yeah, I was
gonna
like,
get a photo. And,
right, we get a photo. It was a great photo.
It was a great photo. I lived through it, and But I'm mostly an observer when it comes to the adventurous stuff, the crazy adventurous stuff. But if you're gonna jump off a cliff, then I'm gonna be at the bottom waiting on you, taking some pictures. I'd be a good camera person.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not gonna do it.
And so you've already let me know up front that when we go to Dubai, she's not gonna do the dinner in the sky with me, where your feet are dangling. So that's a no for me this time.
Y'all, what if I gotta go to the bathroom? Okay.
Right.
It looks amazing. We'll see what happens when we get there. If y'all see She Goes Live and y'all see me up in the sky, then y'all call me on it. But other than that,
it's a no.
It's a no. That's a no for me.
Yeah,
a hard no.
Exactly. Okay. What's your favorite travel memory?
My favorite travel.
I hope it's not a Steeler story.
No.
Go Titans.
It is. It's not a Steeler. Well, I have been to Pittsburgh in my Titans outfit, and I was like the only Titans fan in the whole entire stadium. But I would say it was one of our Vegas trips. We were club hopping one night, and we went to was it Planet Hollywood? We went up on the roof.
Paris.
Oh, Paris. We went up on the
roof,
roof, and Method Man and Redman was there, and they were
just
right there. Yeah, they were right there in the middle of the dance floor, and they had a concert. That night was epic.
Yes.
We had a good time, and since it was Vegas, that's probably all we can say about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes, I remember, and I have to agree that was a good memory. I really like that. What's been your favorite destination and why?
I'd say anywhere that has a beach. I love the beaches, and I love sunrises. I love to be able to walk out and be out on the beach when the sun comes up in the morning, either meditating or reading or just something. That's just my quiet time. Most of the resort is quiet and everybody's still sleeping, and I can just get out there. So a beach, anywhere there's a beach and some tequila.
Yeah,
that's a great place to be.
Sounds so nice. The sunrise and a beach, and that just made me think. And I'm totally getting off a topic here, but I had posted a blog post. You go to my website and check it out on reasons why you should get a balcony stateroom when you cruise. And so when you mentioned sunrise, it just made me think about that. And you just recently, your cruise, you had a balcony. Yeah. So, that made you feel that way as well. You got out on the balcony. You recommend the balcony.
And I've been on several cruises, and this was my first time ever getting a balcony.
Really?
And I will never get another room.
Oh
I'm
my
always
God.
gonna have that was like my own little personal space.
Right.
So I didn't have to go to the top of the ship and sit out when everybody's kind of coming around.
Right.
My balcony was my personal space, so I could get out there and I could watch the sunrise, the sunset, or if I just wanted to read or whatever, or just sit out there with a glass of wine.
Right.
That was my personal space. So yeah, I will always get a balcony.
I am really happy to hear that from Chanel. We could do a whole other Facebook Live session all about the balconies, because that just really makes me happy that was your first time getting a balcony. I don't know why I didn't know that, but that's your first time getting a balcony, and you're like, you're never going to get anything else because you loved it so much. But that's the same way you felt about the swim up rooms, right?
Yes. Well, I think too, because when we were in Punta Cana, the pools closed kind of early.
Right.
So, about 7:30, the pools were closing, but that didn't matter to us because we had our own swim. We could get in our own pool
and
swim out.
You know what the swim out room is?
You're basically, when you walk through your room to your patio door, when you slide that door open, that's your pool. You take a couple steps down, you have chairs sitting there, you take a couple steps down, and this is your pool. Now, it does swim out to every other room that's in that lot. So, if it was several of us, so we could actually swim down to each other's room. So, yeah, you have your own pool area. You can sit out there. You can have your cocktail. You can swim. So, when the pool's closed, or if you just didn't want to be bothered with everything that was going on at that pool, you have your own swim out. And plus, to me, it was the best rooms. Yeah. It was the best room on the resort.
It was.
And I like to have the room that everybody's saying, I need to get that room next time.
Exactly.
I don't want to be that person saying, man, next time I want that room. No, I want to be in that room.
Exactly. And that just goes back to the beginning of what we talked about. Book your vacation based on what you want to experience. And price does matter. However, make that kind of secondary. Get what you want first and what you want to experience, because we love those swim out rooms. If you ever have the opportunity, if you haven't done so, get those rooms. I have a client that I mentioned it to her. She tried it once as well, and now she only wants to go to resorts that have swim out rooms because she loves it so much. And I'm not mad at her. Exactly, I'm not mad at her because I totally understand that. Do you have any, it doesn't even have to be about budget or anything. Do you have any good travel tips that you have learned along the way that you would like to share?
Number one thing is always have your travel documents. Don't get anywhere and don't know what your confirmation number is, and you're getting your phone out and you need to call Erica and saying, I don't have my confirmation number. Take your travel documents with you,
or instructions.
Instructions. And you need to know where you're going, who
to look for,
when you get off, your transportation, all that, have all that, and then make sure it's in your carry-on. And another thing about your carry-on, with me in my carry-on, I always put a change of clothes, and I throw a swimsuit down in there, because if you lose my luggage, then I want to make sure that I can go to the pool. Right. Or, when you go on cruises, that it takes a while for that luggage to get to your room. It does. So I can change into my swimsuit and I can be at the pool and everything. So my regular luggage can get there when it gets there, because I have what I need in that carry-on.
Wonderful.
Y'all make sure that y'all either go to Erica's website or you click, if she adds this to the link below, make sure y'all get that payment calculator. It is going to do you a world of good. You need that payment calculator, whether you're planning a trip in 3 months from now, 1 month from now, or like me, 10 months out. That payment calculator is going to help you to go places you thought you couldn't go, and now you can go for $60 a week. Right,
because balance due dates are real, people, and they come around faster than you think. You have a lot of people who will put a deposit down and they never, make any payments, and then all of a sudden that balance due date creeps up on you, and you're looking at that big chunk of money, and you're like, oh, forget it, I can't do it. But you don't even have to put yourself in that position. It doesn't make a lot of sense to spend time planning for a vacation if you don't spend time planning how to pay for that vacation. So remember, think about your vacation in small chunks, not big, large chunks. Break those down, make small payments, and just drop that down, because like I said, balance due dates are real. Also, I want to say this, the airlines and the resorts and the cruise lines set those balance due dates. They want their money on those dates. Your travel agent is not setting that date, so it's not like we just pull that date out of the sky and we can change it for you. So prepare so that you don't let your vacation dreams go down the drain because you know that due date has crept up on you and you didn't plan ahead. So make sure you get that download that I'm going to put in the comment section. Make sure you get it and make sure you use it. And if you need any help from me, always reach out to me via email or drop some comments or hit me up in the DM. I am here to help you any way that I can. I am just so excited that you joined me today.
Thank you for
having me.
having me.
I mean, you had a lot of good information about budgeting and good travel tips and your travel experiences. I am just so thrilled that you joined and helped, you know, other people out. I hope everybody has learned something. And thanks for joining us.